Hello everyone, I'm Rasel Mahmud. I'm very happy to share our research work, auditory feedback to make walking in virtual reality more accessible. Virtual reality tech is becoming more popular day by day in many sectors like rehabilitation, education, and entertainment. However, VR causes imbalance and gait disturbance issues for healthy users, which is severe for people with disabilities, for example, people with multiple sclerosis. So we investigated different auditory feedback in our study to improve gait and balance in VR. The purpose of our work is to make immersive VR more accessible. The motivation behind this work was there are numerous prior work that investigated gait disturbance effect and confirmed VR causes gait disturbance. However, minimal research has been conducted to reduce this effect. Also, most previous research was focused on users without disabilities. However, we included users with disabilities in our study. Most of the rehabilitative approaches to improve balance and gait in VR have either not used head-mounted displays or only constrained to seated tasks. We used head-mounted display and investigated standing tasks in our study. We investigated spatial, rhythmic, static rest-frame auditory feedback in our study, which was found to be effective in real-world environment. We recruited 39 participants in our study. 18 of them was with mobility impairments. 21 was without mobility impairments. We had 5 different auditory conditions in our study. First condition was baseline without VR, which was conducted in the real world. We also had 4 VR conditions. First one is spatial audio, where we specialized the white noise from Unity 3D using Google Resonance Audio SDK. When participants moved their head to left or right direction, the audio volume was increased for this condition. Then static rest-frame audio was a static uniform white noise played in head-mounted display headphones. Rhythmic audio was similar to the static rest-frame audio, but was provided at every 1 second interval. For no audio condition, we didn't provide any auditory feedback. However, participants still used the head-mounted display to make it consistent with other conditions. Basically, we conducted a VR baseline condition to compare with the other condition and to compare with the baseline without VR conditions. These are the real and virtual working environment. The left figure shows the real world environment of a real gait ride. The right figure shows a virtual environment. This virtual gait ride was displayed by a head-mounted display. And these are the real world and virtual environment working. The left one is for real world working, where participant is working on the real gait ride without using the head-mounted display. The right figure shows the virtual environment working. Participant did the same tasks as the real world environment for this virtual working. However, the virtual gait ride was displayed via head-mounted display. For the study procedure, we first introduced the participant about the whole study. Then participant read and signed a consent form. Then participant completed the COVID-19 screening questionnaire form, activities specific balance confident scale form, and a pre-session simulator sickness questionnaire form. And participant was done with the paperwork. They used the harness to protect them from falling. And then they completed 3 trials in real world environment. When participant was done with the real world tasks, they are engaged in the virtual tasks where we had 4 different conditions: spatial audio, static rest frame audio, rhythmic audio, and no audio condition. Participant completed the 4 condition for 3 trials each conditions. After completing the VR tasks, participant again completed the post-session simulator sickness questionnaire form and finally a demographic questionnaire form. At the end of the study, we paid $30 per hour to the participant. In our study, the auditory feedback conditions are counterbalanced. Participants are allowed to take rest between trials. The study took around 1.5 hours to complete. IRB at UTSA approved the study. We had 3 different metrics in our study. First one is gait metrics. We investigated measured gait parameter, walking velocity, cadence, step length, stride length, step time, cycle time, and swing time. We also conducted a ABC scale questionnaire, which is a 16-item questionnaire used to measure participants' physical ability. Finally, we conducted a simulator sickness questionnaire, which is also a 16-item questionnaire used to measure cyber sickness. We conducted Sapiro wheel test to check if the data are normal or not. Then we conducted a 2x5 mixed model ANOVA to find any significant difference among all conditions. Here we had 2 Bedouin subject factor, participants with balance impairments and participants without balance impairments. We also had 5 within subject factors, which is 5 auditory conditions, baseline, spatial, static, rhythmic, and no audio. Then we conducted post hoc totality test for 3 different scenarios. First, to find specific differences between any 2 conditions. We conducted totality test between pre-study SSQ scores and post-study SSQ scores to measure the increase in cyber sickness. We also applied the totality test between the ABC score of participants with mobility impairments and participants without mobility impairments to measure their physical ability. These are the walking velocity comparisons for different study conditions. We explicitly showed the walking velocity because this is basically related to other gait metrics. In our study, we found that in VR baseline tasks, which is a condition without no auditory feedback, the walking velocity significantly decreased. However, with auditory feedback, the walking velocity significantly improved. Her spatial auditory feedback had a significantly greater result than other conditions, although we didn't find any significant difference between static and rhythmic auditory conditions. We found similar results for participants without mobility impairments, where spatial auditory feedback outperformed others. These are the values for other gait parameters we investigated. Spatial auditory feedback outperformed other auditory conditions in this case as well. I know there are a lot of values and very difficult to look at right now. You can look at our paper if you are interested. This figure shows the effect size comparisons for different study conditions. You can see spatial auditory condition had greater effect than other conditions. In our study, we found few gait parameters are affected differently for participants with mobility impairments than the participants without mobility impairments. Few prior studies also found similar result and concluded that gait parameters affected differently for participants with and without disabilities. We also found the auditory feedback, which changes with position, provides greater effect than other conditions. For our study, we found the spatial auditory feedback, which changes with participants' positioning, provided significantly greater result than others. In our study, we didn't find any increase in cyber sickness. We hypothesized, as our virtual environment was very simple, that didn't had any effect on the participant. In conclusion, all auditory feedback in our study improved gait parameters significantly than no auditory feedback condition in VR. However, spatial auditory feedback can be preferred over others because it provided significantly greater result. Researchers will be able to better understanding the auditory feedback to improve gait in VR. It will also help them to create more usable and accessible VR experiences for people with and without mobility impairments. Our future work investigated the effect of other feedback modalities, for example, visual feedback on gait in VR. Here are the references. Thank you.